But I mean, this whole rhino crisis is very close to my heart, and I'd love to see this, not on our watch, to see these animals just disappear. So last year I was at a conference with this big company in Arizona in the US. And I made the suggestion then that I think it's time that we take some rhinos into Texas, because I've been to Texas and the habitat there looks just like ours. And I suggested that we should get some rhinos into Texas just as a safe deposit box. If we want to export the big time, just get some there as we have a safe deposit box, gene pool. So if things really go wrong here, which is quite possible, we still have some rhinos somewhere that we can maybe one day bring some back to South Africa. And when I made that suggestion to the conference, it was warmly received and very well. So, in fact, that was in October of last year. That's less than a year. And in the meantime, things have rapidly developed. We now have a group of Texas farmers, all ranchers with wildlife on their ranches in the deep south of Texas, as they say. And they're here to come and talk to private ranchers. So we are looking at a program where private ranchers can send rhinos to private ranchers out there. And they will act as the custodians. And we're getting tremendous support from both South Africa as well as in Texas. So we hope by early next year we already have the first group of 6 out there. And then in the balance of the year to send hopefully another 100.
We have been approached to provide land and through our members who own large quantities of ranch land in Texas, which that ranch land is similar to South African terrain and climate. So if we are a conservation organization who has done numerous conservation efforts across the country, and this is one more, I think, effort that we can contribute to the South African people and the South African government to save an icon of Africa. My opinion, as well as our members' opinion, is that a legalized horn trade is the way to curb a certain portion of the black market. If you can control it, take the profit away from the profiteers, the black market people, I think then you have a golden opportunity to save many more rhino, and we would support a legalized horn trade here in this country.
For me, this is the home of wildlife conservation. I mean, the track record in South Africa for wildlife conservation is unmatched anywhere in the world. And so for us to be able to partner with, such an iconic species such as the rhino, and to be able to help create a source population, we call it a source population because it's a deposit. It's a population that it's really held in reserve, and it's a protection against the unknown. We don't know what's going to happen in South Africa. Right now there's a poaching situation that's out of control. And so we're going to have a reserve population that hopefully someday we can grow and establish that population and then re-establish that, send those rhinos back home. That's really the goal of the whole project, and we're excited about it. We've come over here to form that partnership and that relationship. There'll be joint ownership of those rhinos between the Texas ranchers and the South African ranchers. And what I like about that is there's no question that right now this is not about profitability. This is not about anything other than saving the species. The private sector is literally going to spend millions of dollars on these projects to help save this species with very, very little in return. In fact, I'm not sure anybody's even thinking about the return. That's not why we're here. We're here to create a partnership that's focused on one thing and one thing only, and that is the rhino.
And we had no idea. And we are some of the most informed people as ranchers and landowners there in Texas, and we know a lot. But we didn't know this. And when I found out about it, see, I do a radio program, and I've said for years that my audience is the 80%. Our ability to communicate effectively with those people will determine how we move forward with the things that we love and stewardship of the land. And so when I saw this project and learned about it, I said, I've got to start speaking about it. Well, I learned a lot, I've asked a lot of questions, and I've just scratched the surface. So when given a chance to come over here and join this delegation, it was like, heck yeah, you know. And so I've learned so much, and one of the things I learned is that the people are not that much different from the way we are in Texas. Our hearts are the same. We love wildlife. We love animals. And the 80% that I talk about that we're trying to communicate with, it's not that they're stupid, because they're not. They just don't know. And so we need to communicate the sorrow, the pain, the devastation to not just families, but to the species themselves from, you know, the poachers and the things that are going on. So I'm so excited about this project and working with the Exotic Wildlife Association. For me, 30 years in the business, this is the most excited I have been in 3 decades.